I pulled the trigger on my father's empire not with a gun, but with a stack of forged signatures I'd unearthed from his safe, each one a ghost of the mother he'd buried in lies. The courtroom echoed with gasps as the judge slammed the gavel, declaring his fortune forfeit. But the real shot was the one that hit me hardest, realizing I'd become the monster he always said I was. In that split second, as his eyes met mine across the polished oak bench, I wondered if revenge tasted this bitter because it forced me to swallow my own soul. That was the day I stopped being Piper Hayes, the dutiful daughter from the Rust Belt suburbs of Detroit, and turned into something sharper, something unbreakable. But let's rewind, because the unraveling started long before the headline screamed, Aristotle's tycoon father in epic betrayal. It began in the shadow of our family's crumbling steel mill legacy, where the air always smelled like wet iron and broken promises. I was 22 when Grandma Elsie died, her heart giving out in the same threadbare armchair where she'd chain-smoked her way through 60 years of Michigan winters. She wasn't just family, she was the backbone of the Hayes dynasty. The one who'd clawed our name from the jaws of bankruptcy after Grandpa's gambling debts nearly sank us in the 80s. Her will was ironclad, the mill's remaining assets, a tidy seven-figure trust from savvy real estate flips, and the old Victorian house on Lake St. Claire all split evenly between Mom and me. Dad? He got a polite nod. A modest life insurance payout to keep the lights on, as her lawyer put it. Elsie never trusted Harlan Hayes. She called him that snake oil salesman with a law degree behind his back. Mom passed when I was 16. A tragic accident on I-75 during a blizzard, her sedan wrapped around a guardrail. Blood alcohol level just over the limit. Dad spun it as grief-fueled recklessness. But I always suspected more. He handled the estate like a hawk, folding Mom's share into family investments without a whisper of consultation. By the time I graduated high school, the mill was hemorrhaging cash under his innovative management, layoffs disguised as efficiencies, shady loans from offshore accounts that smelled like money laundering from day one. I was too young, too trusting, to question it. Hell, I even interned their summers, crunching numbers in the dim office while Dad slapped my back and called me his little accountant in the making. But trust is a luxury in Detroit, where the auto industry's ghosts haunt every corner. It shattered the day the feds raided our home. I was 24, fresh out of community college, with an associate's in business admin, dreaming of turning the mill green with solar retrofits. Dad had me sign off on a batch of wire transfers, just routine. Pipes. Keeps the unions off our backs. I didn't blink. Why would I? He was Harlan Hayes, the guy who schmoozed governors at Tigers games, the silver-tongued fixer who'd bailed me out of that underage drinking bust at 17. The indictments hit like a factory whistle at dawn: tax evasion, embezzlement, falsified records. Dad walked free on a technicality, his high-priced attorneys arguing lack of intent, but I took the fall. Material witness turned accomplice, the DA called it. Turns out those signatures I'd rubber-stamped weren't just approvals. They were the linchpin in a Ponzi scheme sucking dry Mom's inheritance and Elsie's trust. 18 months in Wayne County Jail, a plea deal that tattooed felon on my resume, and a family name dragged through the free press like yesterday's sludge. Dad visited once. Through the plexiglass, his face all false sympathy. You're worth a dime if you're lucky. Piper. This is on you, signing without reading. Lesson learned. Right? His laugh was a knife twist. I didn't cry. I nodded, filed it away like one of his ledgers. When I got out, the house was sold, the mill shuttered, and Dad, He was living large in a condo overlooking the Detroit River, married to a Botoxed realtor half his age named Kendra. Fresh start, he emailed. No mention of the millions he'd siphoned. That's when the logging began. Not dramatic at first, just a spiral notebook in my efficiency apartment above a Polish deli on Joseph Compow. Every night after slinging coffee at a Cass Corridor roastery, I'd sift through public records. FOIAs from the county clerk, scraps from Mom's old diaries I'd salvaged from the attic before the auction. Dad thought he was slick, routing funds through shell LLCs in Delaware and Nevada. But he forgot. I grew up on his knee, listening to him brag about creative accounting. I knew the tells, the inflated invoices, the ghost employees, the offshore bounces. By month 6, my notebook bloated into spreadsheets on a second-hand laptop. I traced it back, Elsie's trust, untouched in probate, funneled into Dad's consulting firm via a forged power of attorney dated the week after Mom's crash. The kicker? That POA bore Mom's signature, dated 2 days after her death. Forgery, plain as the tiger's Old English D. And the crash? Toxicology said .08 BAC. But the dash cam footage I'd subpoenaed as a personal effects request showed brakes failing mid-spin. Sabotage? Or just shitty winter tires on a 98 Accord? The report buried it as mechanical failure, but Dad's garage receipts showed he'd tuned it up a week prior. Rage simmered, but I played it cool. Rebuilt my life brick by brick. Night classes at Wayne State for a forensic accounting cert. A gig auditing nonprofits downtown. I even dated a quiet engineer named Theo who fixed my faucet without asking about my record. Everyone's got skeletons, he'd say, kissing my knuckles. But Dad's shadow loomed. Holiday cards arrived with Kendra's scrawl. Photos of them yachting in Traverse City. No invite for me. Blood's thicker than water, the saying goes. But his blood ran green. The first strike was subtle, an anonymous tip to the Michigan AG's office on a whistleblower hotline. Hayes Consulting, check the Nevada filings. Nothing happened at first. But then the audits rolled in. Dad called. Voice oily. Heard you're stirring pots. Pipes. Family sticks together. Remember? I hung up, heart pounding like AV8 at full throttle. Strike 2. I hacked his email, not ethically. Mind you, but with a phishing link disguised as a Kendra spa voucher. Guilt gnawed. But so did jail bars. There was threads with a Chicago fixer named Rocco, discussing liquidating assets to cover exposure. And buried in attachments, a scanned letter from Mom, dated pre-crash, begging Dad to stop the schemes. For Piper's sake, it ended. He'd known. All along. I confronted him at a Wayne County Fairground tailgate, neutral ground, amid the scent of fried dough and distant Motown covers. He was schmoozing boosters in a Tigers polo, beer guts straining the seams. Dad, I said, sliding into the folding chair, uninvited. Kendra eyed me like roadkill. Piper. To what do I owe? Smirk City. The trust. Mom's share. You forged it. I slid a printout across the cooler, clean, timestamp trail from Elsie to his Cayman account. His face didn't crack, but his knuckles whitened on the solo cup. Ancient history. Kiddo. Water under the Ambassador Bridge. You want a cut? Name it. Not money. Justice. Sign it over the house, the mill remnants. Or the feds get the full ledger. Kendra tittered. Oh. Honey. Threats? That's so. Trailer park. Dad leaned in, breath like cheap bourbon. You think you're the victim? I built this. Your mom? She was drowning us in her morals. That crash saved us from her nagging the auditors. And you, signing those papers? You were complicit. Dime a dozen. The fairground blurred. Complicit? I'd been 18. Idolizing him. But the hook lodged. Had Mom pushed too hard? Threatened exposure? Was the crash mercy or murder? I walked away. Ledger burning in my bag. Months blurred into a fever dream of depositions and dead ends. Theo proposed over pierogies. I said yes, clinging to normalcy. But Dad escalated. Private investigators tailing me. Whispers to my professors about unstable elements. Then the twist that gutted me. A manila envelope slid under my door. No return address. Inside, yellowed photos, Mom, laughing at a company picnic, arm around a stranger, not Dad. And a paternity test. Stamped 2001, 99.9% match. Me? Not Harlan's. The world tilted. All those years. His disdain, the not worth a dime barbs, rooted in blood doubt? Or leverage? A note tucked in, he knows. Use it. Or don't. Your call. R. Rocco? Leverage? My hands shook as I fired up the laptop. Cross-referenced, Mom's consultant from her diaries matched Rocco's early alias. She'd had an affair. A safety net. Dad knew. Stewed. Struck back. But the crash, tires tampered? Forgery to erase her claim? I didn't sleep for days. Theo found me at dawn. Spreadsheets glowing like accusation. Piper. This ends you. It ends him. The plan crystallized over black coffee in a Greektown diner. Full exposure. But surgical. I'd reclaim the inheritance. Yes, but twist the knife with truth. File civil suit for fraud. Leak the paternity to the press for scandal spice. Dad's empire, now a string of vape shops and strip malls, would crumble under boycotts. But the controversy? I'd paint him as the villain who offed his wife for greed. Me as the avenging daughter. Never mind the gray, Mom's infidelity. My signatures. America loves a messy family feud. Filing day. Federal courthouse in downtown Detroit. The Renaissance Center looming like a steel sentinel. My attorney, a no-nonsense Polish firebrand named Lena, laid out the complaint. Undue influence. Fiduciary breach. Elder abuse on Elsie posthumously. Dad's team countersued for defamation, claiming I was unhinged, seeking undue enrichment. The press ate it up. Daughter versus Daddy. Detroit's dynasty implodes. Protests outside the Mills site. Blue-collar folks waving signs. Hayes stole our jobs. I became a folk hero to some. A gold-digging ingrate to others. Online forums split. Justice for Piper versus Harlan hero. Dredging my jail stint as proof of bad seed. Dad cornered me in the hall post-hearing. Kendra on his arm like a trophy. This your big play? Dragging my name, our name, through the mud. You dragged it first, I hissed. Mom's blood on your hands. His eyes flickered. Fear? Guilt? You don't know shit. Piper. That test? Fake. Rocco's parting gift to stir the pot. But if you push, everyone loses. Including your pretty boy Theo. Threats now. I laughed. Hollow. Try me. Trial prep was a pressure cooker. Lena uncover more. Dad's tune-up on Mom's car? Brake fluid drained. Per a mechanic's reluctant affidavit. Motive? Mom had confronted him about the forgery weeks prior. Per her diary. Elsie's trust was the lifeboat. He'd sunk it to keep control. But the Real bomb dropped in Discovery, Rocco's deposition. Videotaped in a Chicago holding cell, busted for racketeering. Harlan? Yeah. I bedded the wife. She was done with his bullshit. Wanted out. Take the kid. He found out. Went nuclear. That accord? I swapped the pads myself. Favor for Harlan. Owed him from a bad loan. Murder for hire. My stomach roiled. Mom dead because she dared leave, and me, the dime, collateral damage. I confronted Dad in his lawyer's conference room. Glass walls overlooking the river. Rocco sang. Break job. You paid. He deflated. Just a tired man in a rumpled suit. Piper. It wasn't like that. She was leaving. Taking everything. Elsie's pot. The house. I panicked. Called Rocco to scare her. Messed the car enough for a warning spin. But the storm. It went wrong. God. Kid. I loved her. In my way. Lies. Truth. His tears seemed real. Cracking the tycoon facade. And you? I pushed you away 'cause you looked like her, those eyes. Every day. Reminder. The signatures? Test to see if you'd fold like she did. Sick. Manipulative to the core. But in that moment, I saw the boy he'd been scraping by in Hamtramck, vowing never to lose again. Was I avenging Mom? Or punishing a broken man? The trial hit crescendo. Rocco's tape played. Gasps rippling the gallery. Dad took the stand. Voice steady. I made mistakes. But Piper? She's twisting it for a payout. That trust was for the family, for her future. I protected it from vultures. Protected? From himself? Jurors shifted. Eyes on me, sympathy warring with doubt. Lena hammered. Mr. Hayes. Did you forge the POA? No comment. Cross burned him. The transfers, the shells, the drained brakes. But his closer? Piper signed too. We all have sins. Jury deliberated 3 days. Theo held me in the courthouse lobby, whispering, whatever happens, we're us. But inside, schisms. Was Dad a killer or a cornered fool? Mom a saint or a cheater who'd lit the fuse? Verdict, fraud proven. Trust restored, $4.2 million to me. Mill site rezoned for community solar. Dad, civil penalties. Asset freeze. Divorce from Kendra, who bolted mid-trial. Criminal probe launched on the crash, manslaughter at minimum. I won. Sort of. Headlines crowed Piper's payback, but talk radio ranted. Daughter destroys dad. Is loyalty dead? Friends ghosted. Theo proposed again. But I hesitated. That ledger? It reclaimed money, but unearthed graves. Epilogue twist. Walking the St. Claire Shore. Date in hand. I found Dad's note in the mailbox, not threat. Plea. Blood or not. You're mine. Forgive or finish it. Enclosed. Mom's real will. Hidden all these years. She'd left everything to me, sole heir, knowing Dad's greed. The crash? Her escape plan. Staged with Rocco to vanish. Start over. But Dad intercepted. Turned it lethal. She faked her death? For freedom from us both? The ultimate betrayal. Mine too. For believing the lie. I burned it all that night. Ashes scattering like Motown snow. Revenge? It circled back. Dime for dime. Now. With the house mine, I wonder, rebuild, or let it rot like the empire it toppled. I stared at the flickering cursor on my laptop screen, the weight of that final revelation pressing down like the humid August air seeping through my apartment's cracked window.
Mom, alive?
Or had Dad's forgery twisted even that?
No.
The will was authentic. Notary seal gleaming under my desk lamp. Dated a month before the crash. Tucked in a safety deposit box under her maiden name.
O'Brien.
She'd planned it meticulously. Fake the accident. Slip away to some Canadian border town with Rocco's help. Leave the mess for Dad to choke on.
Me?
The innocent pawn. Raised in her shadow. Oblivious. But Dad knew. Of course he did. That's why the breaks weren't just a warning, they were erasure. He'd turned her exit into an exit wound. And I'd spent a decade mourning a ghost who might have ditched me for a clean slate. The irony burned hotter than the bonfire I'd made of her secrets. Here I was. Piper Hayes, no. Piper O'Brien, avenger of a betrayal that never targeted me at all. Sleep evaded me that night. The deli's neon sign buzzing like accusatory hornets. Theo stirred beside me, his arm a warm anchor. Babe, you okay?
No.
But I murmured yes, tracing the scar on his forearm from a shop floor mishap. He was my port in the storm, steady, unhaze-like. We'd met at a Wayne State mixer, him nursing a flat black, me dodging pitying glances post-jail. You look like you could use a real conversation, he'd said. No judgment.
Now.
With the verdict fresh, he talked rings and road trips, visions of a life beyond ledgers. But dawn brought clarity, cold as Detroit river ice. I couldn't torch the truth. It'd consume me too. Instead, I drove to the old Victorian, mine now, keys jangling like victory bells. The place reeked of neglect, dust motes dancing in sunbeams, wallpaper peeling like sunburnt skin. Grandma Elsie's ghost lingered in the lace curtains, her voice a whisper. Don't let him win. Girl. I didn't. But winning felt hollow. The press hounded me, CNN vans idling curbside, reporters thrusting mics like bayonets. MS.
Hayes.
Was it worth destroying your father? A pert blonde from Fox 2. All teeth and hairspray. Worth reclaiming what's mine, I shot back, slamming the door. Inside, solitude cracked open the floodgates. Sobs racked me, not for Dad, but Mom. Had she loved me enough to fake it all? Or was I the chain she fled? The will named me heir, but a codicil stung, for Piper, to build what I couldn't. Forgive the shadows. Shadows. Plural.
Dad's.
Hers.
Mine.
I spent days in the attic, unearthing more love letters from Rocco. Yellowed and passionate. Your fire's what Harlan snuffed. Photos of her pregnant, glowing at a Highland Park clinic, Dad absent. And a journal entry, ink smudged, Harlan suspects. The plan accelerates. If it goes south, Piper, run far. You're better than this blood. Better? I'd logged every scent, every lie, become the forensic bloodhound nipping at his heels.
But now,
with the mill rezoned, groundbreaking next spring, solar panels glinting like justice, I felt adrift. Theo proposed formally over Connie's at Lafayette, ring nestled in mustard-smeared wax paper. Marry me.
Pipes.
Let's make our own legacy, no ghosts.
I said yes.
Tears salting the chili. But doubt gnawed. The criminal probe dragged, DA's office stonewalled, citing insufficient evidence on the homicide angle. Dad lawyered up. Countersuit pending. Alienation of affection? Emotional distress? Tabloids speculated. Heiress hoax. Was Mom's death a double cross? Then Kendra resurfaced. Uninvited. On my doorstep with a bottle of Riesling and crocodile tears. Harlan's a wreck.
Piper.
Lost the condo. Drowning in fees. He talks about you nonstop, regrets. All that. Save it, I said, blocking the threshold. She was all highlights and Lululemon. A far cry from the Milltown grid I knew. He's not the monster. Your mom. She broke him first. Fair with that thug. Harlan found out. Confronted her. The crash was her guilt. Drunk driving into oblivion.
Lies.
Or half-truth. Kendra's eyes darted. Guilt? Complicity? He paid me to stay quiet.
But now?
I'm out. Take the wine. Olive branch. I took it. Poured it down the sink later. But her words wormed in. Was Mom the betrayer? Faking death to escape us both. Leaving me to Dad's warped love? The breaking point came at the mill site dedication, a ribbon cutting with city council. Solar execs in ill-fitting suits. I donated the inheritance seed money, turning rust into renewables. Cameras flashed as I snipped the tape. Speech prepped. From ashes.
Light.
Dad crashed it. Security missed him in the crowd, disheveled. Beard scruffy. Eyes wild. He shoved through. Voice booming. Liar. She's a fraud. Stole my life. Chaos erupted. Shoves. Shouts.
Cops swarming.
I froze as he lunged. Not at me, but the podium mic. Piper's mom faked it. Left us for a gangster. I covered for her. Saved the family name. Gasps rippled. Theo yanked me back. Lena barked orders. But Dad kept ranting. Tears streaming. Breaks? I fixed myself that morning after her note. Wanted to strand her.
Force a talk.
Storm hit. She panicked.
God.
Piper. It was accident. The crowd fractured. Murmurs of bullshit. Clashing with poor guy. Phones recorded. Viral in minutes. Hayes hoax trended. Splitting netizens. Was Dad a grieving widower gaslit by a runaway wife? Or a killer playing victim? Cops cuffed him. Gentle almost. Easy. Harlan. Let's chat downtown. I followed to the station. Theo protesting. Interrogation room. One-way glass. Dad, slumped. Spilling to detectives. Found her plan in the glove box. Fake passport. Cash stash. Rocco's number. I snapped. Drained just enough fluid to scare. But the blizzard. She lost control. I buried it. Forged the POA to hold the trust for Piper. She was all I had left. Detectives leaned in. And the signatures? Embezzlement. Desperation. Mill was dying. Thought I'd flip it. Give her the world. Lies layered on truth. A toxic cake. I burst in. Glass door banging. You murdered her. For money. He looked up. Shattered.
No. Kid.
For you. She was leaving us. Said you deserved better than my mess. I couldn't lose you both. The room spun. Mom's codicil echoed. Forgive the shadows. Hers. For fleeing. His. For clinging lethal. Mine. For the ledger that exposed it all. They released him. No charges. Evidence circumstantial. But the damage? Irreversible. I drove home in silence. Theo's hand on my knee. What now?
Now?
I choose. The Victorian waited, porch light beckoning like a truce. Inside, I lit Elsie's old pipe, cherry tobacco, acrid comfort, and penned a letter. Not to Dad. To Mom. Wherever her ghost roamed. I forgive. But I won't forget. Mailed it to a P.O. box in Windsor, Rocco's last known. No reply came. But peace did, fragile as first frost. Months later, wedding bells, Theo and I in the backyard. Solar lanterns glowing. Dad sent a card, congrats. No return address. Inside,
A dime.
taped to a note, worth more than empires. Proud, I pocketed it, smiled for photos. Revenge reclaimed the fortune. But grace? That was the real heist from the ruins. I built something true.
Or so I tell myself.
When the shadows whisper otherwise. Yet in quiet nights, I wonder if Mom surfaces. Do I embrace or indict? And Dad, monster or man? The debate rages in my head. Unresolved, American as apple pie and endless litigation. Theo's ring caught the autumn sun like a captured spark as we strolled the St. Clair boardwalk. Leaves crunching underfoot in that crisp Michigan way that smells like change and cider mills. It had been 6 weeks since the wedding, small backyard affair with pierogi towers and a Motown playlist, and already, life felt like a tentative exhale. The mill project hummed, panels installed, first kilowatts feeding the grid, locals hired off the streets. My name on the plaque, Piper O'Brien Memorial Sustainable Initiative, a nod to Mom's hidden fire. Reclaimed. But Dad's dime burned in my pocket, a talisman or taunt. I hadn't seen him since the station. His card the only bridge. Kendra vanished to Florida. Peddling condos to snowbirds, the countersuit fizzled. His lawyers folding under scrutiny. Whispers said he was crashing with old mill buddies in Warren, nursing Bud Lights and grudges. Part of me itched to reach out. Blood's pull. Stubborn as Lake Huron tides. Another part? The ledger girl. Tallying sins. Theo sensed it. Always did. You're quiet. Harlan. I nodded, skipping a pebble across the water. That note. Proud. After everything? He's human.
Pipes.
Messed up. But human. Theo's optimism was his superpower. Engineer's logic bent to hope. Maybe therapy. Or AA. Give it time.
Time.
The luxury I'd stolen from him. But the probe lingered. DA circled. Building vehicular manslaughter on Rocco's tape and the mechanic's word. No arrest yet. Dad's connections ran deep. Ex-Governor pals greasing wheels. Yet justice felt close. A storm front-rolling in off Canada. It broke on a Tuesday. Rain lashing my office window at the solar co-op. Lena called. Warrant issued. They're picking him up now. My pulse thundered. Manslaughter. And fraud add-ons. Feds looped in. Those Cayman wires? Ironclad. I hung up. World narrowing to the ledger on my desk. Digital now. Cloud-backed. Every transfer a noose. Guilt twisted. Had I pushed too far? Theo found me there. Rain slicked from his commute. It's done. Let it be.
But done? No.
I drove to the jail. Badge from my nonprofit gig granting family visit. Harlan Hayes. Once king of the Rust Belt. Now in orange jumpsuit. Scruffier than a Lions fan after a playoff loss. His eyes lit. Relief?
Dread?
Piper. Voice gravel. Didn't expect you. Could not. I sat. Plexiglass between us like old times. They're charging you. He nodded. Slow. Figured. Rocco's big mouth. The brakes.
Dad.
Why confess now?
A sigh.
Deflating him. Truth's heavier than lies. After the trial.
Saw you on TV.
Cutting that ribbon. Looked like her fierce. Couldn't let it end with me playing victim. I leaned in.
Mom.
The plan. You knew she was leaving with me? Knew enough. Found the passport draft in her desk. For Piper's future, she wrote. Thought it was bluff, her dramatic streak. But Rocco? That gutted. Paid him to back off. Scare her straight. The fluid drain. Meant to strand, not kill. Storm turned it tragedy. Tears pricked his or mine. You forged her out. Took everything. Protected what was left. Elsie's trust would have gone to her lover's kid, you, if DNA proved out. Buried that test to keep you mine.
Greedy? Yeah.
But love's a thief, too.
Love.
The word hung. Controversial as a recount in November.
Was it?
Or control. Cloaked? And the schemes? Mill loans. My signatures? Desperation snowballed. Signed you up thinking you'd learn. Toughen. Jail was my wake-up. Saw what I wrought. Silence stretched. Rain pattering like judgment.
The dime, I said.
What did it mean? Worthless.
Then.
Priceless.
Now.
You reclaimed it all. House. Name. Soul. Bail hearing next day. Denied. Flight risk. Press swarmed the courthouse steps. Me dodging like a pro. MS.
Hayes.
Is this karma? A WKBD hack. Mike thrust. Karma's a myth, I snapped. This is accountability. Back home. The Victorian creaked welcomingly. Theo cooking gumbo, his Louisiana roots peeking through. We ate by candlelight. Jazz on the turntable. You saw him?
Yeah.
Human. Like you said. He squeezed my hand. And you. Forgiving the unforgivable. Maybe. News cycled. Harlan downfall. Interviews with ex-employees. He screwed us, but gave bonuses at Christmas.
Polarizing.
Pure America villain to some. Flawed everyman to others. Online sleuths dug mom's death. Conspiracy pods buzzing. Faked for insurance? Piper and on it. Then the letter arrived. Postmark Windsor. Mom's script. Unmistakable. Dearest Pipes. If this reaches, forgive the silence. Rocco told me everything. Your fight. The ledger. Brave girl. I didn't fake for escape alone. Cancer diagnosis. Stage 4. Wanted you free of pity. Of him. Crash was real, breaks his doing. But I drove knowing. Left the will for you. Live bright. Love.
M.
Cancer. The twist that shattered scales. No betrayal, just sacrifice. Shadows her own. I crumpled, sobbing into Theo's shirt. She'd chosen dignity. Left me the fight. Trial loomed winter. Manslaughter.
Fraud.
I testified. Voice steady. Facts. Transfers. Forgeries. No embellish. Dad's defense. Diminished capacity. Grief's fog. A man unmoored, his lawyer pleaded. Jury, blue-collar mix. Detroit Hardy, deliberated amid snow squalls. Verdict, guilty. Manslaughter second degree. 5 years. Fraud, 10. Concurrent. No death penalty push, too gray. Sentencing. Packed gallery. Mill workers glaring. A few nodding sympathy.
Judge.
A grizzled Detroiter. Mr.
Hayes.
Your actions eroded trust, familial, communal. But remorse noted. 5 years. Restitution full to MS. Hayes. Dad stood. Chains clinking. Eyes met mine. Peace? Sorry.
Kid.
For the dime days. I nodded. Throat tight.
Right.
From iron. Prison mail started sporadic. Books on solar tech. Clippings of my co-op wins. Proud. Always. Theo and I expanded the mill, jobs for ex-cons. Green training. Baby on the way. Ultrasound wand waving like a wand. Mom's shadow? Faded to guide. I'd logged the debts. Reclaimed the gold. But the real fortune? Choosing light over ledger. Gray over grudge. Dad out in 3 with good behavior. We'll see. Coffee. Maybe. Cautious. America's drama. No heroes. Just survivors scripting sequels. Mine? Open-ended. Like the river. Spring thawed the ice on St.
Claire.
But not the chill in my bones as I paced the Victorian's kitchen. Theo's gumbo simmering forgotten on the stove. Mom's letter, her final. Fatal truth, lay splayed on the oak table. Words blurring under my gaze.
Cancer.
She'd orchestrated her end not as cowardice, but mercy, sparing me the chemo vigils, the hollow-eyed goodbyes. And Dad? His scare had accelerated it, turning escape into elegy. The ledger, once my sword, now felt like a shroud, every entry a stitch in the family's unraveling tapestry. Theo found me there, ultrasound photo tucked in his pocket like a talisman. Breathe.
Pipes.
It's a lot. Too much. I collapsed into his arms. The baby bump. Ours. 6 months along, pressing soft reminder. She died for me. He killed for.
What?
Possession? He stroked my hair. Voice steady as a blueprint. Grief's a forge. Warp's good, steel bad. But you're not them. Wasn't I? The trial's echo lingered. Dad's guilty plea. The judge's gavel a punctuation on our saga. Restitution check cleared. Full trust plus interest. Enough to fund the co-op for decades. But victory soured. Hayes' legacy trended bitter. Podcasters dissecting. Piper profited from pain. Opportunist or oracle? I ignored it. Dove into work. The mill reborn as Hayes O'Brien Renewables. Panels humming. Apprentices welding frames. Kids from the hood. Felons like me getting second shots. Groundbreaking Drew councilwoman. Her speech all platitudes. From rust to rise. Flashbulbs popped. I smiled. Hand on belly. Theo beaming beside. But Dad's letters piled, weekly now. Prison's stationery crisp. Read The Audacity of Hope. Obama gets it. Second chances. Or, baby's a boy. Name him Harlan Jr. Kidding.
Love.
Dad. Humor.
Halting.
I replied once. Weather updates. Mill metrics. Neutral ground. Then Kendra called, number spoofed. Voice syrupy. Piper? It's Ken.
Harlan asked me to.
Check in. Check what? I cradled the phone. Distrust flaring. He's good. Bible study. Welding shop. Says the food's better than my cooking. Laugh.
Forced.
But the appeals. Dragging. Appeals? What appeals?
A pause. Crackling.
Fraud sticks. But manslaughter? New evidence. Your mom's diary, Rocco had it stashed. Says she tampered breaks herself. Suicide pact almost. To frame him if caught. My blood iced. Bullshit. Send it. Email pinged minutes later. Scans. Her script. If Harlan pushes, I'll end it. Breaks loose. Note blaming him. For Piper's freedom. Dated crash Eve. Forgery or truth? Mom's mercy extended. Sacrificial pyre. Implicating dad to ensure my inheritance untainted. Diabolical. Devoted. I forwarded to Lena. Verify. Her call. Authentic. Ink. Paper match. This torpedoes manslaughter, self-defense angle. Or mutual destruction. Dad's appeal hearing loomed summer. Sweltering. I testified again, reluctant. Belly swollen. Theo in the gallery. The diary changes nothing, I said under oath. He drained the fluid. Intent. Defense attorney. Slick as oil. MS. Hayes. Your mother plotted against your father. Wasn't he defending family? Family? He stole it. But doubt seated. Jurors' eyes flickered. Weighing a woman's wrath against a man's panic. Ruling. Manslaughter vacated. Fraud upheld 3 years. Paroled early. Dad walked. Media circus ensuing. Heiress's bombshell diary frees father. Twisted love or cover-up? He called that night. Voice tentative. Pipes?
I'm out.
Yeah. Silence. Heavy. Coffee? Tomorrow. Neutral, Lafayette. I agreed. Hung up. Nausea roiling. Morning sickness or morning after. Theo frowned. Safe. Safe enough. Diner next dawn. Connie steaming. Jukebox crooning Aretha. Dad slid in opposite. Thinner. Grayer. 60 looked 80. You look. Glowing.
Boy.
Due September. His smile cracked. Grandkid. Wow. Awkward sip of Joe. The diary didn't plan it. Found it post-crash. In her trunk. Kept quiet. Thinking it'd hurt you more. Hurt? You profited. Guilt's profit enough. He pushed a folder across deeds.
Clean.
Mill's yours. Full. No strings. I flipped. Transfer complete. Notarized. Why now? Time's the great auditor. Logged my sins in there, nights staring at bars. You're the balance. We talked. Halting.
Raw.
Mom's laugh. Elsie's pies. My first bike. No accusations. Just anecdotes. As he left. Hug brief. Proud. Dime or no. Home. I wept. Relief? Release? Baby kicked. Insistent. Theo held us both. Healing. Starting. Summer swelled. Baby shower at the co-op. Gifts piled high. Tiny Tigers onesies. Solar-powered mobiles. Dad sent a bassinet. Anonymous till tag. From Gramps. I kept it. Labor hit Labor Day weekend. Ironic. Contractions syncing with distant fireworks. Theo white-knuckled the drive. Hospital halls a blur of beeps and brights. 8 hours. Push. Owen Hayes O'Brien entered wailing. Red-faced.
Perfect.
7 pounds. Eyes like mom's fierce. Dad visited day 3. Flowers wilting in his grip. He's. You. Owen gurgled. Dad's finger dwarfed in tiny fist. Can I?
Theo nodded. I did.
Gramps, he whispered. Tear tracking. Missed this. We let him hold. Moment fragile as spun glass. No words needed. Ledger closed. But controversy clung. Tabloids twisted the parole. Daddy's girl pull strings? Protests at the mill. Justice for Evelyn Hayes. Pickets with mom's photo. Demanding reopen probe. I addressed them. Mic trembling. My mother's story ends with her choices. Mine with hope. Owen's first blurred by crawl on Victorian rugs. First word light, pointing at panels. Dad visited Sundays, diaper duty. Storytime with Dr.
Seuss.
Your ma loved green eggs, he'd say. Voice catching. Theo thrived. Promoted to project lead, we bought a hybrid. Road trip to Mackinac, fudge and fairy winds. Normalcy. Hard one. Twist lingered. Though, Rocco. Extradited from Toronto. Flipped full in Fed's net. Deposition leaked. Evelyn begged the break job. Make it look bad. But survivable. Harlan paid. But she overdid. Storm plus loose lines. Suicide assist. Mutual hate. Final nail. Mom orchestrated her end. Dad's complicity the chain. No heroes. Two flawed flames extinguishing each other. Leaving me the ember. I confronted the ashes. Bonfire on the beach. Diary pages curling. Rest, I whispered. Wind carried them liquid.
Now.
Owen toddles. Dad, Harlan, pushes swings at the park. Higher. Gramps. Laughter echoes. Unledgered. Revenge? Reclaimed more than cash, family. Fractured but fusing. Yet debates rage in quiet. Was mom martyr or manipulator? Dad protector or poison? Me, avenger or enabler? America thrives on such splits. Our story fuel for endless firesides. Ours ends open, light from rest. Love from ledgers. Dime's worth? Infinite. Owen's laughter rang through the Victorian, like wind chimes in a gale. 2 years old, and all kinetic energy. Chasing sunbeams across the hardwood that Grandma Elsie had waxed religiously. The house, our fortress now, hummed with life. Theo's blueprints scattered on the dining table. Solar grant proposals ing fresh. My desk piled with co-op reports. Numbers dancing like fireflies. We'd added on a nursery with Lakeview windows. Playroom echoing with blocks and babble. Normal. Hard fought. But normalcy's a thin veneer over Detroit's grit. Dad's parole had thawed the ice. But ripples persisted. Anonymous emails. Blood money builds your empire? From mill ghosts unpaid. Protests fizzled. But scars itched. And Rocco's leak? It ignited fresh inferno. True crime docs pitching the Hayes hoax. Faked death or fatal frame? Netflix scouts emailed. I ghosted. Dad integrated slow. Sunday barbecues on the porch. Ribs smoked low. Tigers games on the radio. He'd bounce Owen on knee. Tales of the old mill. When dinosaurs roamed. Boy, ate it up. Calling him Papa Har. Theo warmed cautious. Chess matches in the garage. Probing questions over IPAs. You ever think of making amends? Beyond this. Dad's reply. One dusk. Every day. Wrote a book in there. Ledger of regrets. 4 pipes. When he's ready. I read it covert. Spiral bound. Prison forged. Entries raw. Day 47. Dreamt of Evelyn's eyes, accusing, forgiving, drain the fluid 2x over. Coward's math. For Piper. To keep her rooted. Or, missed her graduation, jail irony. Worthless dad. Dime legacy. Gut punch. I shelved it. Unread to Owen. Summer scorched. Co-op booming. Panels powering half the east side. Jobs for 200. Expansion talk. Traverse City Outpost. Green tourism. Councilwoman hailed me. Detroit's daughter of Dawn.
But Dawn's got shadows.
It cracked open at Owen's birthday bash. Backyard blowout. Piñatas swinging. Neighbors grilling. Dad arrived early. Gift-wrapped tool set. Future engineer. Like his pop. Hugs exchanged. Easy now. Then Kendra materialized, uninvited. Heels sinking in grass. Botox taut. Surprise. Heard it was the little man's day. Theo stiffened. I blocked her path. How'd you? Mutual friends. Smile shark-like. Harlan and I. Reconciling. Thought I'd bridge. Dad's face ashen. Ken.
Not now.
She ignored. Air-kissing cheeks. Piper. Darling. That doc pitch? I consulted. Your story's gold. But twists. Evelyn's cancer?
Staged.
Docs forged for sympathy scam. Liars gleam. Guests murmured. Owen tugged my hem.
Confused.
Mama? I scooped him. Voice steel. Out.
Now.
She laughed. Tossing envelope.
Proof.
Read before you judge. Vanished in her beamer. Exhaust like accusation. Envelope burned pocket till nightfall. Hospital fakes. But metadata glitch. Dated post-crash.
Bluff.
Or deeper game. I called Lena. Dig. Her verdict. Phony as a $3 bill. Kendra's desperate. Harlan cut her off in divorce. This? Extortion play. Dad confirmed. Next day. Coffee shop neutral. She's poison.
Pipes.
Clung for the lifestyle. Ignore. But why now? Eyes on the will. Thinks there's more. Elsie's secret fund. Myth. But she chases. Myth. My radar pinged. Elsie's diaries. Attic scoured. Hints of off-books nest egg. Stashed for the girls. Mom and me. Post-trial. I'd hunted. Bank stubs. Nothing. Dad leaned in. Evelyn knew. Told me once.
Drunk.
Safety net from Harlan's wolves. If Kendra's digging.
Wolves.
Plural. I rallied. Theo on tech trace. Lena on legal. We unearthed it, a trust in Mom's name. Toronto branch. $1.20 mil from Elsie's flips. Untouched.
Key.
With Rocco. Paroled to Canada. Road trip. Border crossing tense. Owen buckled in. Babbling adventure. Theo drove. Me navigating ghosts. Rocco's bungalow. Niagara Falls shadow. Weathered vet. Eyes like faded tattoos. Piper Hayes. The Avenger. O'Brien. I corrected. The key. He chuckled.
Porch swing creaking.
Evelyn's girl. She left instructions for you. When ready. Handed a thumb drive, accounts. Transfers clean. Cancer real, terminal. Faked nothing but the frame. Wanted Harlan to rot.
But you?
Free. Tears hot. Why hide? Her mercy. No burden. We claimed it ethical. Quiet. Back home. Kendra's texts escalated. Share or spill. Lena sued. Harassment. Defamation. She folded. Settlement gagged. But the drive's files? Bonus, Mom's video. Time-stamped crash week. Dim kitchen. Her face gaunt. Pipes. If you see this, I'm sorry. Leaving was for you, new life.
No chance. Harlan.
He'll break. Forgive him. Or don't. You're the light. Fade to black. I played it for Dad. Victorian parlor. Fire crackling. Owen napped upstairs. Theo out. His sob broke silence. God. Ev. Knew it was goodbye. We sat. Wreckage shared. The frame diary? My ad.
To counter her plan.
Thought it'd absolve. Twisted absolution.
Yeah. Pause.
Love you.
Kid.
Dimes worth worlds. Hug lingered. First real. Unarmored. Fall brought harvest. Co-op gala. Owen in tiny suit. Dad toasting to roots and renewables. Kendra's shadow banished. Appeals dust. Yet controversy's hook. Leaked video snippet. Mom's plea sparked forums ablaze. Suicide enabler? Or ultimate mom? Debates divided. Mercy killer versus family forged. I tuned out. Focus forward. Owen's third birthday. Solar cake. Papa heart-pushing swings. Legacy? Not ledgers. But this messy. Mended. Twists echo in Mom's files. A letter to me. Unborn. Blood's a start. Not sentence. Reclaim yours.
Did. Now.
With Owen's hand in mine. Dad's laugh mingling. I tally wins. Empire rebuilt. Not stolen.
Revenge?
Evolved to redemption. America's tale. No neat bows. Just bold strokes. Ours, ongoing. Argued.
Alive.